I'm Dr. Bill Cotching from the Tasmanian Institute of Agriculture, and I'm talking today about diagnosing soil health, which is part of the Water for Profit program that's funded by the Tasmanian government. Diagnosing soil health, to me, is a bit like you going to your doctor for a checkup. And there are three things that are involved in that checkup. The first is getting a bit of a history, in this case, of what the paddock has been up to and what the farmer's been doing with the paddock. The second step is to have a physical examination of the soil. And the third step is to send some soil away for getting some testing done. So let's have a closer look at what we look for when we diagnose soil health. So in having a closer look at the soil to investigate our soil health, we dig out a turf and we break it open. And the first thing we do in having a look at the soil biology is we smell the soil to see if it's a good healthy smell or if it's a bit of a sour rotten eggs type smell. Because that good healthy smell is associated with bacteria that are working in a good productive soil, whereas that sour rotten egg smell is an anaerobic soil that's poorly drained, got poor structure, and it's not working well. So that's the first sign. The next thing we might look for are earthworms or bugs crawling in the soil, and the number of earthworms we're really looking for in a piece of soil this sort of size is about 10 or 12. And if we get that many in this volume of soil, that is a good indicator of healthy soil. The next thing we look at when we physically examine the soil is the structure. And the structure is what you can see in terms of the size of the aggregates that are in the soil. So the first one here is strongly aggregated, and we have lots of 2 to 4 millimetre sized aggregates and very little dust. And that's got a structure score of 10 because there are lots of plant roots in there. A soil that's been degraded in terms of structure and compacted has a much lower structure score, probably about 4 or 5 in this case, because there are clods and lots of powder. And if we degrade our structure even more, we just have clods. So lots of large clods that are being compacted by heavy machinery when the soils are being wet to moist. And the structure can be destroyed overnight with one poorly managed operation with machinery. So in this instance, the soil was compacted and made into clods with a wet carrot harvest in the recent winter. The soil structure degradation is really critical for water supply and storage and ease of plant growth. Another aspect of diagnosing the soil water storage and supply for a soil is the soil texture. And the soil texture is how the soil feels when we moisten it up and work it in our hands. And the soil texture tells us how much sand, silt or clay is in a soil. Because the more clay we have in a soil, the more water that soil will hold for plant growth. So we work the soil up, and so we destroy all the structure in this case, and then we see how the soil behaves, and that tells us how much sand, silt or clay is in the soil. So in this instance, I see if I can roll it into a ball, and yes, I can. So that means the soil is a loam. And there are various grades of loam depending on whether it's gritty, being sandy, slippery, being silty, or sticky in this case, being a clay loam. More information on soil health and irrigation can be found on the Water for Profit section of the TIA website.